Hello, this is Guillermo Campitelli and welcome to the first Q&A of this semester. In this Q&A, the idea is that you post questions in the forum and then I answer them in a video. Unfortunately, I had only 2 questions, so I'm going to answer those questions, and I'm going to use this opportunity then to for those who are still navigating through the LMS page of the unit, I will explain all the areas of the page, and then I will explain a bit more about this unit and the assessments. So first, let's read the 2 questions, which are very similar or in the same topic. The first one is, so how would I define a collider? Would it be right to explain it as an outcome or effect that is affected by more than one common variable? I would say that the answer is almost right. If you get rid of the word common, then it would be perfect. So because it's not a common variable, it's 2 different variables. So you would be right if you say that the outcome or the effect is affected by more than one variable. So here is the collider. We've got variable A and variable B with 2 arrows that collide in variable C. So variable C is the collider. So collider is the place where 2 arrows collide. Okay, so it's 2 arrows pointing to that variable. So the collider is affected by 2 variables, at least, could be more. Okay, so that's the collider. And the second question is how to distinguish, what distinguishes a common cause from a collider? So the collider is affected by 2 or more variables. The common cause is a variable that affects 2 other variables. So it's exactly the opposite. So here, A and B have a common cause, C. So C is causing both A and B. That's why it's called the common cause of A and B. But here, the collider is a consequence of 2 variables, not the cause. So I hope this explains these 2 questions, but if it doesn't, then feel free to ask me that question again, and I will try in different ways to answer the questions. Okay, so I'm going to show you the LMS page of this unit. Okay, so I changed my status to student, so I'm seeing the page as you see it, not as I normally see it. So in the first part, you've got general information, you've got the announcements. So if you go to announcements, these are announcements that I put, and so you can read them here. You've got useful information. But I always, every time I put an announcement, I tick the option that sends email to students. So you should receive an email. If you're not receiving it, it probably is going to spam, and you need to check there. Okay, so I return, and Questions to Unit Coordinator is a forum in which you can ask me questions. So here we've got questions that people are asking me, and I answer as soon as I can. Now, congratulations to all people who contributed to the discussion in the week 1 explainer question. It was really good to see how you argued about in favor or against the idea of depression being a real or not. Okay, I think you need to move on to other things, but one thing that it's interesting to differentiate there is that sometimes the answers to this question They are very specific about what is depression, rather than answering the question of whether it is real or not. And one way that you can determine whether that's the case, whether your answers are too specific, is change the construct, the psychological construct, to intelligence, and change symptoms by cognitive skills. So if your arguments for or against depression being real hold when you change to the argument whether intelligence is real, and the question would be whether intelligence is something that causes performance in different cognitive skills, or intelligence is a summary of performance in different skills. So basically the idea of that question is to see whether psychological constructs are real or not. We are not going to find a solution to this, because this is something that philosophers of science and theoretical psychologists are debating. So we are not going to find a solution to that. But the idea of this is that you discuss and you start thinking about the concepts that we use in psychology rather than accepting them. But it was really good discussion you had there. Okay, so then we'll return to general, and we have a forum that you can interact among yourselves. I don't monitor this one, so whatever you put there in this forum, I'm not going to respond, because that's for you to interact. And if you want to form a study group, or ask questions to your peers instead of me, that's the place to do things. And then this is the Unit Information and Learning Guide. Everybody should read this. This is a lot of questions that you have are answered there. And we've got also an assignment guide that explains the research report you have to do. In contact information, it's important, this one, because Deborah is co-coordinator, and she is dealing more with the administrative aspect of the unit. So if you have any administrative issue, please contact Deborah instead of contacting me. But if it is about content of the unit, I am the person to contact. Okay, so and then we've got the modules, the weekly modules. So here is week 1 and week 2, and on Monday you will have week 3. Perhaps before Monday you'll have some parts of week 3. And so if you got a description of the whole week, and then if you go inside, then you'll see that you have the theoretical module, which contains a masterclass, the slides, the explainer, and slides for the explainer, and then there is a practical module that has the quiz. It could be a quiz or other activities. So far it has been quizzes. And then a step-by-step guide. In week 1, the guide was about writing a laboratory report. Don't worry, we are going to return to laboratory report many times during the semester. You will have enough information to do a good research or laboratory report. So if you go to masterclass, make sure that you read all the chapters. So in this case, this masterclass of Mind and Reality has 7 chapters, and each chapter has a bit of text, which are notes, and a video. So here is Atoms, Purposeful Universe, with a video, and each of these chapters will have a video. So then week 2, causality. Now the difference with week 1 is that practice module we have one more section, which is the Q&A for weeks 1 and 2. So here is where you put questions that I answered. So that's the only difference. So when I finish this video, I will upload the video in this section, so you can see my answers. This is the unit information and learning guide, which provides useful information for the unit. A lot of answers to your questions are already there. And most importantly, the study schedule. So here is what we've been doing. So in theoretical module, we see the master classes and explainers of Mind and Reality, and the practice module will have a video and some quizzes or other activities. So we went through week 1 and week 2. Week 2, next week you have scientific knowledge. This is a bit of philosophy of science, but my twist, in which I try to get the most interesting and most useful aspects of philosophy of science, because otherwise philosophy of science could be very dry and technical, and I want to avoid that. And so in week 4 we are going to start with a way of teaching statistics in a very unconventional way. I'm going to use the history of psychology and the history of statistics to put all the tests that we are going to learn in this unit in a context. So it's not just dry, the use of tests, but where do they come from? How statisticians or even psychologists develop those tests. What were they trying to do? Why how did they come up with the idea? So in week 4 we are going to see a psychologist that made a lot of contributions to statistics, who was Francis Galton. And then we are going to in week 3 we are going to start using JASP, which is the statistical software that we're going to use for this unit. This is a free statistical software. This is a change I introduced in all the units in psychology. In all the statistical units in psychology, we are now using JASP instead of SPSS, which is an expensive software. So I introduced this idea of using JASP. It's free, it's very versatile, it has a lot of capabilities, and it's easy to use. So you will start seeing videos of how to download it. You download it for free, and basics of how to use the software and basic descriptive statistics and graphs. And then you will start seeing how to do some of the tests that we are going to run in this unit. So week 4 you will have the first 2 quizzes that are a part of the assessment. So this is worth 5%, so 2.5% each quiz, and it will open at the beginning of the week and it will be there for 1 week. So you have 1 week to answer the first quiz, and it will contain content of the first 3 weeks. So there will be another quiz, another 2 quizzes in week 7. So when we have a break, things go a bit desynchronized. So because the number of the week is now it doesn't match the number of the lecture or the number of the topic that we are seeing. So week 7 is we are going to see the 6th topic, but we are going to have another 2 quizzes, and they will be open for the whole week. Then the lab report is in week 12, which we will see a lot about the lab report and later on in the week. And then 2 more quizzes in the last week of the semester, and the exam is 40% worth 40%, and is to be determined by the university when it's going to be carried out. Now, most probably the exam will be online. Still the university hasn't made a decision, but most certainly, I would say it's going to be online. In any case, if it is face-to-face or online, it's going to be open book. The quizzes are open book, so everything in this unit is open book. Why is that? Because myself as a scientist, I use all the resources I have available to do my work. So that's what I expect you to do, to use all the resources you have, and that's why the assessment evaluates your your application of knowledge to a specific situation. I'm not going to ask you definitions of things, because you've got the definition available in the resources that I give you. But what I want you to do is to apply the knowledge to different situations. That is what makes you a good professional. That is what makes you a more rational person, and a more critical thinker, and even a good citizen. So that's the idea of this unit, that you acquire skills and ways of thinking that helps you to be a professional, a citizen, and a person. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much, and I'm very happy that there is a lot of interaction and participation in the unit. Please keep doing that. Please keep putting questions in the forum. I answer as quick as I can, or otherwise they will go to the Q&A that we have every 2 weeks. Okay, last 2 things. I ask you not to send me emails unless it's a personal issue. If you have a personal issue, of course you don't make it public. You contact me directly. But the idea of having the questions in forum instead of emails is that if I spend 5 minutes answering one question, that's worth 5 minutes. But if I spend 5 minutes answering a question in a forum, that's 5 times 300. So that is a better use of my time. And the time that I don't use to answer emails, I use to prepare better activities, answer your questions in the most professional way I can, and providing quality to the unit. So it's not that I'm stubborn and I don't want you to contact me. It's just a question of use of resources in the most efficient way. But you also have, if you read the unit guide, you've got times that you can come to my office. So consultation times are on Wednesdays from 10 to 11. So that's an hour that I'm available for all the students of this unit. So for you to come. I think next week I have a problem in that time, so I'm going to provide a different time for you to come. And if you cannot come at this time, in special circumstances, I accept to arrange another time for meet with some students if they need so. Okay, so I hope you continue doing well in this unit, and until I see you in the next video. Bye.